I'm Jodi. Today I'm going to show you a simple homemade noodle recipe. Some of you have asked if I have a preferred recipe that I turn to when I want noodles that I need to make quickly, that doesn't require a lot of ingredients and a lot of equipment. And the answer is yes. This recipe can be done completely by hand. No mixing, no mixers. You don't need the mechanical equipment to form the noodles. You simply mix the ingredients, roll it out, and cut your pasta to whatever you like. And it's actually pretty simple to make. You need, for a 4-serving recipe, meaning like a 4-person spaghetti dinner, 1 egg, a half a teaspoon salt, 2 tablespoons of milk, and a cup of flour. Now, if you want a thicker noodle or a heavier noodle for example, lasagna, casseroles, soups, things like that, you can add a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Now, being in the Midwest, it gets cold, and I tend to do that in the winter months. I do have here a spaghetti noodle that I've made recently, and this is actually a winter spaghetti noodle that I made with the baking soda. It's thicker, it's heavier. Chili noodles I make with that. During the summer, I take out the baking soda. I do make it thinner. I roll it thinner. I use cookie cutters, often the little mini cutters, to make different various shapes, make pasta salads, lighter pastas, things like that. Even Alfredos, anything lighter in the summer. So it's your choice. You make it however you want. You make whatever you want. And to do this, all you do is you take your egg, which I have here, you beat it up slightly. It doesn't have to be completely mixed. Just a little bit. Dump that into your bowl. To that you add your half teaspoon salt and your 2 tablespoons of milk. Mix that just to combine it. Now, if you want to add the baking powder, take your cup of flour, dump in a bowl. And to that, add your baking powder and mix that in before you add it to your egg mixture. Once you've got that mixed in, you just dump it right in. Just like the pizza dough, you don't have to put it in gradually, you just dump it and mix. You kind of stir that up with your spoon. Although, as we've seen before, you can get to a certain point with your spoon, and at some point you just have to get in there with your hands. So we'll get that mixed up as best as we can here. And it is a drier, harder dough, so it will appear that it's not going to combine. And we've seen that before also. But don't worry, it does. Okay, gone about as far as I can. Just get in there, and I just flip it over and press down on it with my fingers, and that kind of brings the rest of the mixture together. And kind of squish it apart, or squish it together. Now the next thing you want to do is just roll it out. And you roll it to whatever thickness you want. And I tend to split it in half. It just makes it easier to work with. Just roll it directly on a flat surface. You don't need to flour your surface or the dough. And depending on what you intend to do with the noodles, you can shape it to whatever form you want the dough. You can work with that. Personally, I don't really care too much what my noodles look like, so I just roll it out. Kind of a general rectangle. And that looks pretty good. Now, the next thing you want to do is you need to let this set up for about 15 minutes or so. So I'm going to transfer this onto a plate. Normally I would just let it set up right where I roll it. And if you have a countertop that you can do light cutting on, things like that, without actually damaging it, that's great. Just do it right there and leave it. Otherwise, transfer it to a cutting board, roll it on a cutting board, and after it's sat for about 15 minutes or so, it's a nice, kind of drier dough, and you're ready to do whatever you like with it. Now, in this case, I'm just going to chop. Just going to cut it into noodle shapes. I'm going to do medium-sized noodles. And being a little funny on the edges, I will take the smaller pieces, put them in soups, chili, casseroles, anything like that. I will take the longer ones and use them for spaghettis. And this is what you get. Now, once you've gone through and cut all of your noodles, just kind of make sure you've got them separated. I will separate these. And I do flip them over because the bottom side is wetter. And you want to dry your noodles now. Depending on how thick you make your noodles or what you do with them, you can dry them from anywhere from an hour and a half to even 3 hours if they're heavy, thick noodles. I have made very large, heavy, thick lasagna noodles that I've just dried overnight. And in the morning they're ready. A noodle such as this, I would probably dry a couple of hours. Now, you can actually sprinkle your noodles with flour. That will help with the drying process, protect them a little better. But you don't have to. And you set them aside wherever they're out of the way and let them dry. Now I have over here some noodles cooking. These are thicker noodles. They've been cooking for roughly 20 minutes because they are heavier. I've actually cooked very heavy noodles for 25 minutes even. And this is what you get. This is what it comes out like. I just happen to set them in a bowl here of spaghetti sauce. Pardon me. I just grabbed a container of spaghetti sauce I had in the fridge. Add your noodles. And you've got a great lunch, great dinner. You can make a whole batch for a dinner party or just a family, a nice cold evening in for the family. If you want your bow ties, if you want your small ones, make a nice light pasta dish. You can make it overnight, set it in the fridge, let your flavors set up like you would a normal pasta dish, take it the next day to your party, whatever you like to do. And there you have it, a very simple and easy pasta recipe that you can use for virtually anything. I hope you found this helpful. Enjoy your pasta, and we'll see you next time.